first ever Hangouts call.
And we're live, so thank you for the crashing the entry there. if this was the Woo to Boots trailer and Sam jumps onto the stage too early, I make us go back and re-record everything because I'm a perfectionist.
Except for that one time when I said expect the unexpected, and then you told me I couldn't do it, and then I said never say never.
Wow, it's just repeating back to you. That
okay, so so we start again.
oh, new starts.
So we've never used Hangouts before to do our talk. We often use Skype. So this is our development vlog. Vlog. I don't know how to say that word without making it sound like blog. It's Tom, Sam, myself. And it's the first time I use Google Hangouts. This is a bit experimental. It's supposed to link it straight to YouTube, so this will then make a YouTube feed for later. So we can go watch this in a few years' time and cringe at ourselves and the state of our uploads. Because in the lead up to this, Sam has just criticised everything in our backgrounds, both Tom and my backgrounds. And Tom has actually rebuilt his entire house to accommodate us. So.
Yep.
Criticise was a bit of a strong term.
So it's Saturday the 21st of May. It's about 8:30 in the evening. So thank you very much for giving up your Saturday nights of your fun social activities that I'm sure that you do, just like me, on a Saturday night. Silence.
What do I normally do on a Saturday night? I'm pretty sure normally on a Saturday night we're on Skype playing Minecraft.
Yeah, that's our fun social life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, so to give a bit of background, a bit of perspective, we're going to be talking about privacy today. We're going to talk about internet privacy, and I do realise the irony of us all streaming a conversation about internet privacy over the internet, so everyone can watch. And I'm also wearing a Watchdog t-shirt. So I work for Imperium. I work with Tom. I think that makes me chief troublemaker. And in home life, I am a father of two daughters. So privacy and internet is something that more recently has become more important to me. It's always been quite important to me, and I've been quite good at protecting myself online. I think I'm very aware of what information I put online, but having daughters now makes me more concerned. Next person.
Next person?
Okay.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. Sorry, what was the question?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Who am I? What am I doing here? I ask myself that every morning when I get up. Who am I? What am I doing here when I could be sitting on Minecraft? Again, like James, I am a father of two. My two are a little less computer savvy, having not actually been born in front of a keyboard, which I rather understand James's were.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
I didn't give birth.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, as I say, they're not particularly computer savvy. I've just managed to salvage an old Windows XP Dell laptop, which amazingly still runs, albeit the battery is shot and you have to plug it into the mains. So I've started teaching Alexia some of the benefits of a QWERTY keyboard and a mouse, but mostly she just wants to hit the keyboard and shout at it. But yeah, again, internet security is something that's very important. I'm very leery of the information that I put out online. I'm very leery of, well, I'm on social media, but I put very limited amounts up there as well. So over to Tom.
Over to me, right. My name's Thomas Hussey, which is a massive privacy, I suppose. I am a father of none,
Yes.
according to both these guys. And I came up with the whole privacy cloud idea. It's not really even the cloud. Is it actually a cloud application? It is, isn't it?
Sure. I mean, we use the. I think that's one for another day. Is how reliant we are on the cloud now. That's another day's topic.
Yeah,
it's a
we're
very
going
interesting topic. So
Okay, we're going into scary lands now, but I am the founder and creator of Imperium and Ziobi, the Minecraft server that these guys both play on. So it's probably not as enjoyable as I try and make out. um, yeah, I'm not really great with introductions, but hopefully.
So I think what's quite interesting when Sam and me are on. I mean, Sam and I have known each other for a few years. And Tom, we know Tom for a few years as well. But Sam and me on Facebook, there's certain people on Facebook that I can think of who put a lot of information online, a lot of photographs of their kids online. And okay, they've locked the account down, so it's only their friends. But I know some people who've got fully public accounts and put information about their kids online. I think I'm going to go off a limb here that I've got more photographs of my daughter on Facebook than you have. By one.
By one.
By one.
That's quite possible.
I think I've got one photo of my daughter online each.
No, in that case we are level pegging. Literally we would just like to announce that at some point in the last 7 days somebody delivered a baby, probably in a hamper. It was on the doorstep. We really don't know anything beyond that. We're thinking about naming it X, and there was literally a first name and a single baby photo. And since then I've pretty much kept everything off. My partner occasionally references them, but there are never pictures of them, and we've always hidden their birth dates.
I think, if I'm honest with you, I've actually got a few more than that. I think I'm up to about 3 or 4 now, and I always check. My fear is that, having grown up in the 80s, there's only a very few photographs of my parents weren't that well off, and photography and photography paying for the film to be developed was quite a low priority for them. So there just aren't that many photographs of me as a kid. So when you do that 18th birthday and they pull out all the amusing photographs of you as a kid, it's like, oh, what amusing photographs? And I'm always worried that it's so easy to go online and find photographs of people now.
In the bath with their arse out. Thanks, Mum.
Yeah.
Those photo albums.
And I've got those photos on. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be putting them out at weddings or at any suitable time. But they're not going to see her go online. They're not going to see that her friends or her frenemies or other people that she doesn't necessarily want to put them out. So they're at some point we'll hand them over to them both, and let them choose what they want to do with that information. I think I possibly went one further though, because I modified the metadata on my first page. People know my kids' name, but their names aren't a problem for me. So I modified the metadata on the photograph so that you can't tell her date of birth.
So you modified the EXIF data?
Yeah, I took the photograph to pieces, I changed the dates on it, and I put that photograph back online.
Nice.
That's taking it to a whole new level. That's
and
impressive.
No one spotted it.
That's
a point,
because I
actually.
hope no one's looking.
I never
really.
thought about the EXIF data at the time, but
It's yeah.
I never thought of that at the time.
And that's one of the problems, because I did it on purpose. I did it. It was a photograph literally taken 5-6 minutes after she was born, and I did it the next day, I think, or the day after, and I modified it. I think you can work out when she was born from my post, but it's not on there in the EXIF data. With Hazel, I didn't bother because the photograph I uploaded for Hazel was taken several days later, because we just didn't have a nice one. We took a nice one a few days later and uploaded that, so it already was out. But that's one of the interesting things that when it comes to privacy.
Before you took the photos.
Say again, sorry?
I said you'd hope the baby was out before you took the photos.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a few days later before we had a photograph which we wanted to share, I think. I was just tired. I mean, by that point, we'd kind of given birth, and we'd had a birthday party, because I demanded to have a 0 birthday party, not a chocolate cake. So
a 0 birthday party.
Yeah. It was good fun. So that was a bit different. But that metadata is something which not a lot of people know about, and it's very easy for a computer to. It's very hard for a computer to look at the image content, but it's very easy for the computer to look at the EXIF data. So You're going to take your picture down now and replace it, aren't you? I can just see you.
No, no, sorry, I have a text message that just landed that I'm having to deal with,
Well, while
which
you're
is
doing
what
that,
I'm doing.
we'll switch to Tom. Talking about embarrassing photographs online, Tom.
Um,
Or
let's.
embarrassing video footage.
I have plenty of that. Unfortunately, I did tutorials to try and boost my confidence when I was younger, so that's embarrassing enough. I've removed about 50 videos, luckily, but yeah, that was interesting. Talking to a camera, I found the most immobilizing thing I've ever had to experience. But yeah, I've plenty of footage. If you type down my old username, you can find out my date of birth, where my old house address is, and there was one more thing that I found really freaky about it. You could find my full name. You could find out a lot about me just from my username. So that's partly my fault, admittedly. But
I think these days with things like Google Plus Hangouts, things like less so like in Minecraft, but Google Plus Hangouts, Facebook, that it's much easier to share that information than it ever has been. You used to have to actually write it in. Now it's like, oh, I am James. They want you to connect with your real identity to a degree. I think one of the challenges, one of the fears I have is that my children will be, they will be, this is the death in me, be technically competent, and I think their technical abilities will always outstrip their maturity up to a certain age. I know that was the case for me. I didn't necessarily know it was a good or bad idea until maybe last week. So I do wonder, though, that's something that you've discovered, being maybe close to that point of realizing that you're making bad decisions on putting some of this stuff online or not.
yeah, I suppose there's quite a lot of thought behind that process that when I was younger, I didn't have the know-how really of what I could and couldn't really put online because my view was very limited on the internet. But as I've grown older, you can see a lot more dangers within the net itself, mostly due to the people that use it. In fact, almost totally because of the people who use it. But yeah, I have a feeling though that it's been getting worse since 2007 when I first went on the internet. So yeah.
Okay, so let's on track with my program plan, which I wrote a quick plan with. What would you say the biggest threat to your privacy online is right now?
I'll go first. Windows 10. Yeah, I might as well make this controversial. Actually, no, I don't mind Microsoft having my data, but at the moment, along with Google sharing
Google?
data, we're using a Google service, and this is being shared for profit, most probably.
Mm-hmm.
And Microsoft, anything free profits off our data. I mean, even your ISP profits off your data. So really, everything on the internet is a worry for your privacy. That's my view. Over to Sam.
Captain Sam.
Yeah, I was actually going to say Google. As a Chrome user since 2007, probably before that.
Hiss.
When did Chrome launch?
Google Chrome or Chromium?
What Google Chrome? Roughly.
About then.
About then. So yeah, from around about whenever it stopped being Chromium and became Google Chrome, I jumped on because it was heaps better than IE, and I was sick and tired at the time of wrestling with Firefox. And Opera was
terrible.
Different. Just different.
2008.
2008, okay, a bit later than I thought it was, but yeah, I jumped on the bandwagon, and over time I've slowly become aware of this. Oh, Google, man, they take all your data and they bottle it up and they don't forget. And okay, well,
I think it's certainly that there's some research done recently by Stanford University, and what the interesting research is that I don't think it's the big organisations you necessarily have to worry about, because the big organisations are collecting information about you across all websites. So Facebook, even if you're not on Facebook, will know stuff about you, because any page has like a Facebook like button on, they get information about the fact you visit that page. and that's scary.
Like it.
But the big organisations like Facebook and Google and Microsoft, and in fact Microsoft I think will probably be one of the better organisations, they are generally the more regulated and they're the biggest to take down. So when you see things like in Germany, the government suing Google, that's a big thing. Microsoft have too many government contracts to dare worry it. So I think the other two threats are the government. I think the government accidentally invading privacy. In America, they have this rule about if you tap someone that you suspect of a crime, you can tap anyone they call, and anyone they call. For every one person who is your suspect, you can tap 25,000 individuals. But that's the problem. And the other problem is that it's small-scale individuals. So Stanford University have shown that for very small amounts of money, you can set up a monitoring system which collects data on a large variety of people. From my time in the past, I think my biggest worry is identity theft. That has been known to keep me awake at night, the worry about identity theft. I think the problem with identity theft is things like someone targeting you isn't going to target you. Don't get me wrong. People on the internet are not trying to target you. They're targeting indiscriminately.
Yeah.
So they're looking for 100 people they can impersonate and take out bank loans on or take out credit cards on. So they'll cast the net wide and they'll take the top 100 targets and hit those, and then they'll take the next 100 targets. So you've just got to be better than everyone else when it comes to keeping yourself safe and secure.
Or have such a poor credit rating that they can't do anything with your data.
And yet it could still affect you. Because the emotional and stress levels of that, I think, would push me over the edge. So fraud, and the other thing is the other way to avoid credit card fraud, identity theft fraud, is to live in the middle of nowhere, because then it helps.
Lock it to your IP address.
Well, the problem with identity theft is that it's not you doing it. So all the security you have on your computer is irrelevant almost at this point if they have the ability to make your identity. So it's not about them stealing your bank account. It's about them opening a new bank account in your name, and that's the worry. Is that because you don't know about it, it's not you don't get the email, you don't get the report. So it's a big problem with the banks. The banks work on it. And I think maybe I'm a little bit more exposed to it because of the work I do for my day job.
Yeah, you're definitely scaring the hell out of me here. Because this isn't stuff that I even think about.
Don't live in a high-rise flat building in London is all I'm saying. You'll be fine.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I think those are the concerns I have. I have a concern about smaller scale monitoring, which is still very invasive, because I think the people at Google, yes, they're tracking everything known to man, but actually they don't want to annoy people because I think they realise that they'll lose their money. So they're too financially invested in doing the right thing now. It's the smaller scale organisations and nefarious organisations I'm more worried about personally in life.
Tom, forgive me, but you're not in London.
No, I'm not. No. Although I have actually been on the receiving end of a PayPal hack, which was very fun. They tried to take £2,000 that I didn't actually have out of my bank account and pay it into their John Doe account. That was a legitimate thing, and it was an address for an airfield in the United States, which wasn't very nice to find out about 8 AM in the morning when my phone was telling me that I had £2,000 attempting to make its way out of my account.
Ouch.
I think what's quite nice though is that a lot of the more modern organisations, a lot more modern, especially in Britain. I will say this is a very British thing, by enabling internet banking, putting limits on your accounts, enabling PayPal limits, controls, SMS notifications. Those are something that really allow you to take a lot more confidence that your systems are secure. It's very weird at times to find out that Americans, and not a lot of Americans are using internet banking, and they're certainly not using mobile banking. It's something that they've only just moved to chip and pin, not because they didn't want the security, but because the rollout of chip and pin machines in America was a big scale. But by Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and things like that, they're now beginning to use mobile banking, and that's fantastic. Really, really good. Really good for everyone, because if you can reduce banking fraud, you can reduce merchant fraud, you can reduce the cost of those frauds on people like us who are consumers. So I think everyone being better makes everything better for everyone else.
Surely
other people's getting hit by fraud affects us as well.
Surely mobile banking is not as secure as internet banking. So surely, if
Oh,
anything,
okay. I don't want to take this off topic.
no,
It can be a lot
take
more
it.
secure. I think that just to say very briefly, it can be a lot more secure because you're binding it to your SIM card, you're binding it to a physical device, and generally speaking, your
But that
phone.
device and SIM can be cloned.
You can't. Well, you can't clone a SIM. You can make a copy of some data on it, but not the stuff.
Not the SIM itself. I'm sure I've had this conversation with you before.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going off topic.
We'll have another discussion about banking one day, maybe when I'm not covered by an NDA of that stuff. But mobile banking is nice and safe and secure, and everyone should use it. That's as opposed to not using it at all and therefore not getting notifications. As a notification route, I think it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, please don't break an NDA when we're live on Google Hangouts. Please.
Talk about Google Hangouts. Google mentioned one of our products the other day, which was really quite cool. Right in the middle of a video stream, a live keynote thing, we had to sort of freeze frame it and go, "That was us," but it happened. Okay, so the next question is, what do you hope Imperium will do to help protect you online? Tom.
Oh, we're starting with me. Well, as I said, I've already been on the receiving end of fraud or phishing. Still not sure how it quite happened, being honest, because I have extremely long passwords, which are complete gobbledygook. But the way that I hope Imperium will protect me is, first of all, stopping my access to known malicious websites. Maybe implementing something that will also stop, scan every website for malicious cookies. I know that Imperium is already blocking trackers that will maliciously hold my browsing history and stuff like that. So there's just general protection, that standard protection, such as the antivirus that I use. Microsoft Security Essentials doesn't do anything to protect my actual privacy, so I'm just looking for overall security, really, and privacy, I suppose. Have you muted yourself, James?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
Who knows? Yeah, I think certainly that some of those features aren't in the initial release, but there is this discussion actually. How do we identify which sites to block? So at the moment we're blocking sites in entirety, and there is always the possibility that we miss one. There's an awful lot of websites on the internet. They're all being set up all the time, so I could set up a fraudulent site right now, and it won't be on our list. So a scanner which helps identify very, very rapidly whether a site is good or not is, just from looking at the content on the site, is tricky. It is a very interesting challenge. And I think that's something that we're going to work on and look at. And I think that's certainly where areas of our innovation will come in and what makes our product potentially better than some of our competitor products is that scanning and decision making. And I suspect, throw some nice keywords in there, we're going to use some AI.
Yeah. I mean, the voice AI for the client that we spoke about briefly about a month ago might be a good tool to integrate into it, or maybe just the AI itself. So if a website, say Facebook, was accidentally blocked, for instance, something that everyone uses, and our users just went, "Oh, but I can't. It's not malicious," although it kind of is. Anyway.
Yeah, blocking a site which shouldn't be blocked, like Facebook, would mean all our users stop using it overnight.
So we should probably have an instant report button beneath the Imperium is blocked, shouldn't we?
Yeah, it'd be interesting because it certainly is a really important feature, is to report those and handle those reports in a timely fashion is a process. But I think the AI system has to be able to scan and calculate it's interesting when we talk about Facebook. Facebook probably isn't a problem because Facebook has quite good community content, quite good guidelines, quite good controls in it. The interesting one is something like Tumblr, which is actually 1,000 sites or more like 1,000,000 sites, and some of those sites are incredibly bad. They contain malware. They contain not the site itself doesn't. It links to malware. It causes malware to be triggered. So, do you block all the Tumblr, which means blocking cookery recipes and things like Pinterest? You know, some of these sites are incredibly useful, incredibly valuable, and used by a lot of our target audience. I know my wife would scream if I blocked Pinterest, for example, because she uses it for her crafting, her knitting. I always refer to it as crafting, like she gets her crafting block out,
Okay.
puts some wool on, and then goes, "Knit a scarf." That's how you make things, isn't it? That's how everything's made.
And then a little progress bar goes along the bottom of the screen.
Ding, 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 ding. And you have like a 1 in 100 chance of being epic or legendary when you ding, legendary scarf. That's how it works, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Has she leveled up in knitting needles recently?
Oh, don't talk about knitting needles.
What's the damage on those knitting
Don't
needles?
talk about knitting needles. Well, side question. What's the biggest knitting needle that you think she owns is in terms of diameter? The fact I did this is a bit of a hint, by the way. Okay.
That's not a knitting needle.
That's a club.
That's not a knitting needle. That's an intercontinental ballistic missile. You're just knitting with them. Mind you don't end up with a radioactive scarf, although it will help to keep you warm.
So privacy features then, Sam. Same question really is I'm getting us back on track. What features do you think Imperium would you like to see that might help make you feel better about being online?
Yeah, literally, apart from Imperium has prevented you from looking at this because your dad says no, that would be quite a useful one. Not my dad, obviously, me as a dad. God, if I gave my dad free reign over what I could and couldn't look at, the internet just wouldn't work. Or it would go exclusively to lolcats, and that would be it.
I mean, that's an interesting thing there, is that we don't tell you why it's blocked right now. In fact, there currently isn't a custom. You can't custom block sites right now. Everyone gets the same blocking. One of the features on Tom's wish list is to have, or I sort of said you can go, I want to turn on certain groups of sites, and we did talk about maybe you could add custom ones, so just your blocked from, if you find yourself a lot of the time on one particular site, you could add it to your block list, for example. So it doesn't really tell you why it's blocked, it just says that you've been blocked by us. Do you think it's important to know the reason behind our blocking?
It would be useful to know the reason behind it. You know, we've had a report of malware. But if you think you can handle that malware, by all means, feel free to click on this block and bypass us. But Google already do something like that. So we've had a report that people post pictures that you shouldn't be looking at on this website, and therefore we're definitely not letting you in here because it's our arse on the line too. You know, a reason like that.
Do you think that the UX, though, also talk about the UX, though, we're obviously, at the moment we're building a UX which is quite businessy, it's quite formal, it uses Twitter Bootstrap, it looks very clean, it's very modern. Do you think it does need to have a few lolcats in there for younger viewers who are going to be on the receiving end of some of this stuff?
I guess you're going to have to cater to your audience. So at the moment, I'm assuming what you're wanting to do is possibly launch this out to businesses, or are you looking at making this more of an individual end user product?
It's a bit of both. I think we're looking at an individual end user product right now because it's a bit easier to get one sale here and there. We're talking about business users. We're talking about going to some resellers, which is a nice little business model in its own right. It saves a lot of money on advertising, but it also means that we might have to give them a lower rate. So that business model just needs to be worked out a little bit more.
Sure.
But yeah, I think having business users puts the company into a lot more stable position.
Sure.
That you could have 100 users every month, and then you just for one customer. That would be beautiful, wouldn't it? So.
But I think if you're going to have business users, you definitely want those clean modern lines. But if you are targeting families who want to be able to say, yeah, you can totally go on the internet because Imperium's our overseeing net nanny archangel, whatever you want to call it, then yeah, sure, that's brilliant. I'd say lolcats all the way because it gives people more of an interface where you shouldn't be looking at this. But yeah, like I say, it's going to be a case of targeting it down to your audience. The other thing that I do like the idea of Imperium being able to do is, as you've pointed out, prevent other people from getting at my data.
Which it does, to a degree. It will stop the big trackers or the cross-site trackers. That's one thing we're trying to do. Is stop cross-site tracking for the major trackers. We're certainly blocking all the major ones right now. But obviously, if you put data online, if you go to Facebook and say, I am James Taylor, then Facebook will know you're James Taylor. We're not going to magically step in and go, he's actually... So if you go to a forum and type in, my name's James and I'm a great fan of sheds, then that information is then online. I think that, to answer the question from me, I think the interesting thing is when I use other services, so I use something called LastPass. I love LastPass as a service. One of the great things about it is it actually has a security scanner. You actually click a button, it takes you through, okay, we looked at your settings, we looked at some security bits and pieces. These are passwords that you might want to change, these ones are good. And it sort of gives you a score, but it also gives you a lot of, they do a regular email talking about how to keep your passwords better, make passwords better. Just passwords, forget about everything else, just passwords. I think I would like to see Imperium do a bit more of that. So as you're using the client, it will go, here's a quick tutorial about how to keep yourself online on social media, how to keep yourself online when you're making blog posts or making support requests. I mean, you see all the time on even tech journals, you see people going, oh yeah, I've just bought this graphics card and this graphics card and this system, and here's a dump of my system trace. You're thinking, I now know everything to know about your computer. Which means I know how much you make, I know how much money you've got to spend and everything else. And you've got to do that to get help, but sometimes it can be, I think, a bit worrying.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have anything else to add on, I think, about privacy?
Well, I think about the Tumblr website again, or equivalent. So, like, I think Pinterest has multiple URLs as well, and stuff like that. I think it's a bit like if you block the entire website, then you're basically nuking something that you can just flick off the ticks, to put it in a weird and magical way.
I think the challenge with something like Tumblr is that you run the risk of blocking a useful resource. So there are other websites which are which contain content, and as all of a sudden, it's a bit interesting who decides whether content gets blocked or not. The answer is a slot. We just add it to the database and it's blocked. When we start building the AI bot, it's a slot we program the rules into the AI bot, and that's making a decision. So all of a sudden, we're the people in charge of what you see and what you don't see on the internet, and that's terrifying. And certainly I wouldn't have even suggested doing it before I had children. I would have said, no, yeah, I don't have the responsibility to say what you do and can't see on the internet. One of the things that really interests me about Imperium is that I think I have the technical ability to block my daughters from getting access to things they shouldn't have access to. However, I realize a lot of people aren't necessarily as technically good as me, and so I want the user interface to be really slick and really easy to use for anyone. Anyone can just come along and go, bop, my system's protected, as long as they agree. Now, I think this should be optional. I think you should be opting into it. And I'm hoping that my daughters will connect and they'll say that they want it turned on rather than saying, oh, it's in my way, I can't turn it off. There's a lock stopping me from turning it off. I want them to actively engage with this and say, yes, I feel safer when this thing's turned online. And not just feel safe, they have to be safer as well, though. There are other sites which are controversial. YouTube, for me, is a real headache. We watch a lot of YouTube, we watch a lot of GoPro videos. The GoPro channel is amazing on YouTube. If you want to send us free stuff, by the way, all these organisations, LastPass, GoPro, Google, if you're free to send us free stuff for this advertising. But the GoPro is generally curated content. You can go there. They've got cute pictures of dancing owls. skateboarding, jumping off buildings with parachutes, all the nice fun stuff in life.
How do you get an owl to wear a GoPro?
When you put you put it on the grass near the owl hole, because owls live in holes, apparently, in other countries.
Yes, I suppose that.
Okay.
And then they come out the hole, and then they see the GoPro, and then they come up to it, and they do a bit of a dance. You think I'm joking? I will send a link round about the GoPro dancing owl, because it does dubstep.
Okay.
So
Next.
That's pretty cool, actually. I did actually think what you meant was the owl would, put the GoPro on with the body harness, and then,
No, it is amazing. It is an amazing video. It's 20 seconds of your life that you'll watch over and over again. So, but at the same time, it doesn't take very long to link onto other things from there, because we have a game where you do GoPro animal, and there's always an animal. GoPro manatee. There'll be a video about that. But then sometimes you find that the content isn't suitable, such as if you do GoPro duck. You don't get cute videos of ducks. You get people strapping GoPros to guns and going duck hunting. So, which is inside of the YouTube content guidance. And it's very hard to filter that. It's very hard to say, I don't want to see content like this, because they're content tagging, because it's not metadata, it's actually videos. It's got GoPro and duck in the title, so it can be very hard. And then you find GoPro videos of people getting hit by cars and stuff, and it's just like, I don't want this. I've got to monitor what they use, so I don't feel I can let them free on YouTube at all, ever, until they're 35. That's my aim.
Oh God, I only just got on YouTube. That would be a scary thought.
Yeah, and there's so much content on there, and the content can be mislabeled and stuff, and we have some channels which we know are friendly, but it'll be impossible for Imperium to limit by channel.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, the interesting thing about trackers, have you or James or Sam actually heard about Lightbeam before?
No, I'm going to have to go and Google that now.
Oh, I've sent it in the Google Hangouts chat thing. If either of you can see it, that might be interesting. That might be a test as well. It's a Firefox add-on I've used for a few years, and well, actually, I don't know if it's years, maybe months. I don't know how long it's been out for now, being quite honest. But it shows you everything that was connected to that one site in a virtual grid. So that might be an interesting, very visual way to show people how Imperium is blocking all these different connected sites that don't need access to their browsing history and data. Because this is a very visual representation.
I like the way that James's eyes just got really, really, really big as he saw a visual representation of the cookies from some of the websites.
One of the interesting features that we're trying to build in right now is feedback that we're doing our job. So Imperium, to make money as a subscription service, you have to buy per month or per year. I think we're doing it per month at the moment. Again, having flexible billing options is not minimum viable. It's later. One of the things which is really important is to keep on informing you that we're doing a good job. Mm-hmm. So it's not good enough just to do a good job. We have to remind you we're doing a good job. And the job we're doing is invisible. So if you're a good user, you are doing some Googling and you're clicking some links and you never see a blocked by Imperium page, okay, because you're not ever going anywhere. We still might be blocking a lot of things. So one of the websites that I visit a lot, The Guardian, uses a lot of tracking because they sell a lot of adverts, and the adverts are based on trackers and cross-site trackers. So while I love The Guardian and while I think they're great at defending our privacy, they're also part of the problem. And I think that's because of a shift of how adverts have been sold over the past 10, 15, 20 years. So we have a problem now where I will never see a blocked by Imperium page, and yet my blocker is hitting 100, 200, 300 times a day, blocking sites just be surfing the internet. So we have to reinforce that information back to you to say, but by the way, did you know we've blocked all these sites? Do you know we've done our job? And therefore, at the end of the month, when we bill you another £2.99 or £3.99, you don't feel that we're just taking money for no reason. It's not the emperor's new clothes. We're working hard, and we're always updating our list. We're always continuing evolving the software, and we're looking for new ways of protecting you online. This isn't just, oh yeah, you pay us $3.99, you're safe. No worries. Yeah. You can trust. Look at his face. This. So actually having a visualization saying just on this side, this is what we've passed, and this is what we've blocked, and these are the ones why we blocked. That's very helpful. I think it will help educate people. It's about educating people, A, that what needs to be done, and B, that we are doing it, is important.
Okay.
And difficult. Because you don't want to scare people. You don't want to say, these people are out to get you. Google are watching you like a hawk. They are waiting, and then they will blackmail you.
Yeah, this is all beginning to sound a little bit 1984, I've got to admit. But hey, if Big Brother is watching us, then yeah, long live Imperium.
I put my light behind me like this, so I can be a shadow. That doesn't quite work. The camera's too good.
Interestingly, HipChat's only connected to two sites, including Google. eBay is connected to a lot of itself.
Forgive me, guys. What is this HipChat that you keep talking about? I feel like I've been cut out of the loop.
Oh, so you know IRC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, IRC is one of the 4 original internet protocols. It basically, past 4 or 5 years, it's changed a lot. So people start using Jabber a lot, but Jabber's clients are just terrible and no one gets set up and never get to work. So 2 or 3 organizations set up their own versions, and the 2 big ones are HipChat and Slack. And HipChat is by Atlassian. It's a very, very cool little product, but it lets us, it's got like offline messaging. So if I leave a message in the channel, Tom can pick it up when he's online, and there's a backlog as well, and private messaging. So basically, it's like IRC, but with a really good client, and an Android client, and an iOS client, and a Mac, and a Windows, and a web client. It works. The other big one is Slack, and I'm going to suggest we move to Slack at some point, because Slack allows us to have private channels for company people, and also other people can join other channels, more public channels, which would be very handy. But the way it does its code linking is a bit better. Its formatting of messages is a bit nicer.
I much preferred Slack's API when I used it for Zayobi.
We're moving to Slack then. For the hell.
Well, this is just. Okay. We'll do this after this video, okay? Just off topic again.
Another day. But yes, HipChat and Slack are just messenger apps. But unlike Google Hangouts, something else there, you can host a copy of some of these. I don't think you can host Slack, but there are Slack-like things you can host yourself. But it makes little private things that you can talk in. So I've got maybe 2 HipChats and 5 Slack windows open for different groups of people I'm dealing with. And it's just very, very powerful business application. You're probably using Link or Skype for business somewhere, I'm guessing, Sam?
I'm using Skype, and I'm currently looking at Slack.
Yeah, it's a very nice client, but you need to set up it's all about companies, all about business-to-business communications and business communications. But they've grown really big in the open source community because you don't need to configure an IRC client, you don't need to configure a Jabber client. You can just use the web client, you can download the client, and it's really, really nice to use. And you get really nice formatted messages, and no one complains about IRC etiquette and things, and it just works. And you can make bots, so once you can make really automated things, you can do like grabbing every time someone makes a bug, or every time someone submits a ticket, it goes straight in there. And Sentry and things can integrate. So every time, one of the things we've got in one of our rooms is called DevOps. Every time there's a Sentry alarm, because we use Sentry to monitor client events and things, that actually alerts us, so we get an alert in the text chat straight away. It's like our first point of call for what's going on online.
Yes.
Cool.
All right, then. I'm going to hit stop broadcast then. Thank you both for joining me tonight. It has been wonderful. And this has gone on a lot longer than I thought it would go on. I think it's gone for about 45 minutes now. I was expecting like 10 minutes, so that's really good. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been wonderful. And we'll try and do this again. Have some more guests on.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's been quite inspiring. Thanks, guys.
No, indeed. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.
And remember, we've got a new website up now. It's http://www.getimperium.com, and our blog is on http://blog.getimperium.com. And there's no S on HTTPS yet because we haven't set that up yet. Yet being the operative word. And don't worry, we won't be tracking you if you visit our site. We won't. It would be daft to countermand our system. Or maybe we should track you to know whether you bought the product or not. If we can't track you, you don't need to buy the product. Maybe that's what we should do.
No, we're not going to track anything, guys. And girls, ladies, whatever. Whoever tends to watch this type of video.
We will see you all next time.
Indeed.
We will.